All right, I'm back. Recording chapter 4 of Missing Persons, which is my romantic mystery. Um, I do my own audio because I cannot afford to hire someone to record it for me. I'm also way too impatient to wait however long I have to wait to get in somebody's queue. So instead, I'll just procrastinate on doing it myself. But like when it's recorded, then it's that much closer to being out. So took some time off of work with the idea to sort of get my house together and get in this booth and record some audio. So I'm just gonna do a. Is this on? Yes, mic is on. I'm gonna do a test super quick to see how this sounds, and I'm just recording a little bit just to give some insight into the process. I was gonna go live, but I'm a little shy. So playback device E7, recording device ATX. So mic test 1 2, mic test 1 2, mic test. Chapter 4, Yvette. Mic test 1 2. Always test. And it's gonna sound raw in my ears, but after it goes through processing, it will sound different. I have my little clicker here so I can turn the page without reaching up and scrolling it. So we'll see how that works. I feel like this is wrong. This should be. And then, I'm gonna spend like an hour digging around with stuff. This is upside down. It should be this way and turned this way. And my windscreen should go this way. But it's being weird because it's cheap. Seriously. Maybe it's backwards. There we go. Pop filter. Pop filter. Everybody in NSYNC fandom knows where that pop is from. Okie doke. Here we go. Sip of water. Chapter 4, Yvette. Yvette Young for Wesley Payne. Do you have an appointment with Mr. Payne? I paused, willing myself not to stare down the perky young lady at the reception desk of Courtney and Payne, LLP, wearing a telephone headset, her finger poised to just press the damn button and let Wesley know I had arrived. I didn't recognize her, though I hadn't been to the office in a while. So I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna just do that over because I do this thing where my tongue is a little lazy and I need to make sure that my words are crisp and clear. I need to slow down a little bit. I need to slow down a little bit so that when people speed it up, it doesn't sound like a chipmunk, but also I don't like super slow at 1x. So just trying to modulate and not read, but actually act it out and emote and be in the story. So we're going to do that first paragraph over. And when I record, I like to stop, go back, record it over, move forward instead of recording all of it and then going back to fix all the mistakes, because that's how I miss mistakes. Yeah. Okay. Yvette Young for Wesley Payne. Do you have an appointment with Mr. Payne? I paused, willing myself not to stare down the perky young lady at the reception desk of Courtney and Payne LLP, wearing a head... See? I kind of don't like how it sounds, but... I paused, willing myself not to stare down the perky young lady at the reception desk of Courtney and Payne LLP, wearing a telephone headset, her finger poised to just press the damn button and let Wesley know I had arrived. I didn't recognize her, though I hadn't been to the office in a while. He knows me, I muttered, scratching my name across... He knows me, I muttered, scratching my name on the guest sign-in sheet. Mr. Payne insists that he's not to be disturbed unless... Do you know what this is? I waved the padded envelope in front of her face. Her eyes, wide and glossy, followed my movements right to left, up and down. This is the complete evidence package that Mr. Payne's client is waiting for. Tell him Yvette is here. She paused, swallowing hard, then asked, Would you like to leave it? Forget it. I know where his office is. I tucked the envelope under my arm and stomped past the front desk toward a set of double doors, pulling them open. Stop. Getting lazy. Getting lazy. Slow down. Enunciate. I tucked the envelope under my arm and stomped past the front desk toward a set of double doors, pulling them open and marching down the hall until I reached two corner offices at the end of the suite. Wesley's office was on the right. His partner, Nick Courtney, occupied the office on the left. I rapped my knuckles twice on the thick... Jesus H. I rapped my knuckles twice on the thick wooden door. From the other side, I heard, "Come in." Wesley's offices had always been as tastefully appointed as the Army allowed, even violating a few minor guidelines for office decor. At Courtney and Payne, he took advantage of the freedom to decorate as he pleased. He just skirted the line between ostentatious and gaudy, with enormous dark furniture, brass antique lamps, valuable art, and rugs so expensive I was surprised he allowed me to walk on them. Wesley stood at his desk, bent over the telephone, handset to ear. He waved me in. Yes, it's fine, Samara. Yes, I'm sure. No security, and from now on, she can see me without an appointment. All right? He sighed, replacing the handset in its cradle and leveling a gaze. He sighed, replacing the handset in its cradle and leveling a glare at me. Just once, could you come up here without upsetting my front office staff? You don't want a jumpy former cop to roll up here, do you? I shrugged. You should train her better. All she had to do was call you. He stepped around the desk, pointing toward one of his guest chairs. Good to see you, Vet. It's been a while. Wesley Payne in a suit was a problem. Today's was deep plum, tailored close at his broad shoulders and trim at the waist, paired with a deep eggplant tie that brought out his rich sable skin. He propped one ankle on a knee, showing off his socks that matched his tie like he had all the time in the world. Strong jaw, full lips, neatly trimmed beard. He kept his hair cut low and tight back in the day to fit into grooming standards, but now it was a little longer on top, just enough wave to run your fingers through. Let's do that over. Now it was a little longer on top, just enough wave to run your fingers through. If you thought about that sort of thing on occasion. It didn't matter that he looked like somebody's fantasy, tall, broad, cut in all the right places. I was at his office on business. Nothing else. Private practice, mm-mm-mm. Private practice didn't bring him the same level of satisfaction that military law provided. Helping a client prove a complainant had a falsified evidence. Helping a client prove a complainant had falsified evidence of an injurious fall. Injurious is not a word. Helping a client prove a complainant had falsified evidence of an injurious fall on their premises or standing between a bickering husband and wife didn't compare to investigating charges of treason, processing a court martial, or defending a soldier accused of murder. But it was work. It was the law, and when he won big and made sure to make a splash. Is that my evidence? Wesley nodded toward the envelope I held. I handed it to him, and he ripped it open, pulling out my invoice and the supporting documents. A flash drive dropped into his palm. I want to review everything before we file. You said you had video too? About 30 seconds on the flash drive. No sound, but you can play some Luther Vandross in the background if you'd like. Wesley went back to his desk and plugged in the drive into his laptop, humming a few bars of Here and Now while flipping through the video screenshots. I know I don't have to ask, but is this stuff going to stand up in court? Nope, that's not the right word. I know I don't have to ask, but this stuff is going to stand up in court, right? You're right, you don't have to ask. What's the deal with this case anyway? According to Julia Simeon, the marriage was more like a merger between businesses than a love affair. Julia came to the marriage with a lot of money and even more clout. Her father built the Savings Hut empire. That chain of discount stores full of cheap shit? I scowled, squinting. My mother loves that place. It's like an indoor garage sale. Wesley shook his head, brows lifted. They do billions in business. Get out of here! I kid you not, said Wesley. The prenup was more of a formality, protecting each other's images, etc. It's the world's worst kept secret that they married for money. But now... Wesley sat next to me again, laptop in his hands. Mrs. Simeon has met someone. And... Hold up. See, this thing is blocking the view of my text, and I can't see what's happening. Come on. Move. Thank you. Wesley sat next to me again, laptop in his hands. Mrs. Simeon has met someone, and she'd like to divorce Marcel, but he won't have it. She doesn't need the public watching her get her ass handed to her while her husband is offering himself to everything on two legs. Why? What does he care? He can freely date whoever now. Besides, Simeon Industries does a good book of business on its own. Her old man has been out of the business for a minute. She's running things in his absence. When he dies, nope. Stop making stuff up. Her old man has been out of the business for a minute. She's running things in his absence anyway. When he dies, she inherits the company. Wesley nodded, rubbing his dry palms together. More importantly, Marcel has been trying to buy Savings Hut, or at least a portion of it, for years. The old man has always refused. With him out of the way, Julia and Marcel by marriage come into controlling shares. So Julia needs to be good and divorced before she inherits Savings Hut to avoid Marcel controlling any of her company. Wesley rested his hand on his palm while thumbing through the photo images. Unbelievable, he mumbled. They must have thought they were safe since they were nothing. Unbelievable, he mumbled. They must have thought they were safe since there were nothing but trees behind the house. He was such a Boy Scout, playing the doting husband, the loving father. He wasn't counting on me following her. I knew he'd show up. He hummed his agreement. That's why you're good at what you do. Well, I slapped my jean-clad thighs as I stood. He's lost a good chunk of money thanks to her not being careful enough to close her blinds. I'd be mad as hell if I were him. Wesley laughed. You probably will be. This divorce is going to be messy. Quiet, but messy. He'll probably roll right over, agree to whatever she out. He'll probably roll right over, agree to whatever she wants. Never hit a courtroom. Don't say that, he groaned. I need to see a courtroom. Wesley rose to his feet. You taking off already? Got places to go, creeps to investigate. I took a step toward the door, but stopped when he spoke my name. We can't talk? Catch up? He gestured me back to the chair. Have a seat. Tell me how you're doing. I mean, really. I'm fine. I have an appointment. Vet. His expression softened as the V. Vet. His expression softened as the V between his deep eyebrows deepened. I know the anniversary just rolled by. He was my friend, too. I loved him, too. He paused, then added quietly, I miss him, too. Jason was. Do not even start with that, Wesley. Jason was barely even cold before you were hitting on me. I watched him roll his eyes. Vet, it's been 3 years. You gave me 3 years to get over the love of my life before. I couldn't even get my words out. I was suddenly so unreasonably angry. It's not like I proposed, Yvette. We were spending a ton of time together. I asked if you wanted to make things official. You made it clear you weren't ready for that, and I accepted that. I know exactly what you did, Wesley. What you didn't do was show any kind of loyalty to your friend or his girl. I spun, headed for the door. Have my check cut and don't give me any shit about payment terms. I think I want to do that over because I'm not really differentiating very well between voices here. All right, so I watched him roll his eyes. Vet, it's been 3 years. You gave me 3 years to get over the love of my life before. I couldn't even get my words out. I was so. Mm-mm. I couldn't even get my words out. I was so. Ugh! Read the words. I couldn't even get my words out. I was suddenly so unreasonably angry. It's not like I proposed, Yvette. We were spending a ton of time together. I asked if you wanted to make things official. You made it clear you weren't ready for that, and I accepted that. I know exactly what you did, Wesley. What you didn't do was show any kind of loyalty to your friend or his girl. I spun, headed for the door. Have my check cut, and don't give me any shit about payment terms. Yvette, wait. I gripped the door handle and yanked the door open. Stop it. Making up words. I gripped the handle and yanked the door open, nearly bowling over the receptionist. Oh, she yelped, jumping back, teetering on high heels. You suck at eavesdropping, I muttered, passing her as I left the suite and stepped into an open elevator. My heart thumped fast, then faster. My hands trembled so hard I could barely press the button to get to the lobby. I was going to pass out or scream or both. Let's do that over. My heart thumped, fast, then faster. My hands trembled so hard I could barely press the button to go to the lobby. I was going to pass out or scream or both. Not here. Not here. Not here. The walls of the elevator pressed in, the polished brass reflecting a twisted version of my face. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Wesley's voice echoed in my head. He was my friend too. I loved him too. I miss him too. The elevator doors opened and I stalked out, my legs stiff. Across the marble floors, through the revolving doors, out onto the sidewalk. The mid-morning air hit my face, cooling my skin and drying the beads of sweat that had popped up. But it wasn't enough. My chest squeezed in a vice. I braced a hand on the stone facade, trying to reset myself. That happened more often lately, not being able to handle talking about Jason. Talking about moving on, moving past him, letting go, and fighting this whatever with Wesley. Finally able to breathe and heartbeat still at a rapid but slowing rhythm, I climbed into the El Camino and drove the short distance to a converted sunroom turned home office at the back of a 1920s bungalow off of Ponce Avenue. Veterans benefits paid for services post-separation, training, a degree at an accredited college or university, medical care, disability care, therapy for post-traumatic stress disorder. I want to redo that very last sentence. I want to redo. Let's go back to Veterans benefits paid for services post-separation, training, a degree at an accredited college or university, medical care, disability care, therapy for post-traumatic stress disorder. You're looking better. Are you sleeping? Paula Chapman slipped a pod into the Keurig and waited for it to brew a dark amarettic? What is that? I'm going to pause here